All right, welcome back to Revenue Rascals. And this is part 2 of my 4-part series, and I am so excited you're here. If you have not listened to part 1 yet, go back and listen to that one first, because we're building businesses and making money, and you need to listen to them in order. All right, so today's episode is all about how any local business can get 10 new customers in the next 7 days. Let's jump in. This series is a blast. I love local businesses. I love what they do for our community, for our world, for our relationships, for joy where we live. And that's why I'm focusing here. So if you own a local business, thank you. If you want to start a local business, go get it. So this 4-part series is for both categories. All right. So if you listen to part 1, what business are we creating? We are creating a senior concierge business. Now, it's really important you understand what builds into that. So once again, go back if you have not listened to that episode. But we're using this business as an example because I want to teach you how to think like an entrepreneur building an asset, not an operator building themselves back into another job that they usually left corporate America from. And then they went, oops, I built a business that's just another job, not an actual business. Okay, so last week, what we did is went through the Revenue Rascals framework of how to score a business. And I showed you how a great concept like a senior concierge business can be a 2 out of a 10 or a 10 out of 10. So today we're tackling the next question every entrepreneur should be asking. Michelle, how do I actually get customers? Now, more specifically, how do you get customers quickly without spending months building websites, funnels, automations, ad campaigns, and all the other stuff people convince themselves they need before they start selling? Because this is the deal. That's all great. And you will get there and you will love it. And it is like pouring gasoline on a fire. But you got to do this first, because here's what I've learned after helping more than 1,000 businesses grow. Most businesses don't have individual problems. Like they don't have just a marketing problem. They don't just have a lead problem. What they all have, every single one of them, is simply an execution problem. Focus and execution. They know typically what they should be doing. They're just not consistently doing it for different reasons, like not blocking time to sell, not following up, not asking for referrals, not putting themselves out in front of people. Like they're just simply not having enough conversations because they're too busy running the day-to-day operations. But what happens when you do that is you create feast or famine, because if you're selling, you get a bunch of customers and clients, and then you fulfill and they're done or whatever it can be, then you're like, oh my gosh, now I got to go out and sell again. So you have to have consistent selling. And, there's a lot of business owners out there that fear selling, that selling feels too complicated. You don't know what the next steps are, all of this. So I have literally told you exactly what to do inside this episode so that you don't feel overwhelmed and you know that you don't have to stay stuck in operations and that you can simply activate this plan. Because I know you and I see you and you've convinced yourselves that you need, oh no, it's not the right strategy. I need another one. Oh, well, I don't know. Maybe I'll actually put this on the calendar. Maybe I'll build a process. Maybe I'll develop the discipline to execute. And the interesting thing is most of the time it is not like, I don't know, this next step to take. A lot of it is mindset stuff too. Fear of rejection, imposter syndrome, concern like if I sell too much, can we fulfill? And that's actually like a really legitimate concern that you have to be thinking of. But we're going to get that all covered today, because the good news, well, it means getting customers is usually simpler than people think if it's just broken down so you can execute it. And I want to be careful. I'm not saying it's easy. It's not easy. It's simple. And quite frankly, some of the most simple things in the world are the hardest for us to execute. So I hope this episode just gets it out of your head and you can just go and do it. So once again, whether you're looking to get your next 10 customers or your first 10, the fundamentals are exactly the same. Because the cool thing is that if you do it this way, then you're going to have the money coming in so you can do all the fancy things like run ads, create funnels, fancy website, do more hiring, right? But if you don't solve this simple problem and master it in your business, all of that is going to feel extremely difficult. So here we go. You need something to sell. Okay. Not everything. You can't sell everything at once. It's very overwhelming to the buyer. You need people to know about it. You need a reason for them to act. And you need a system for following up, which is really key. And that's exactly what we're going to build today. So let's jump in and do this thing. All right. So the first mistake that most business owners make is most business owners start by asking, how do I get more customers? Fair question, but the wrong question. The first question is, what am I going to sell? Now, the business that we're building right now is a service-based business. It's a senior concierge. So if you're a product business, don't worry, this all applies. But what I'm going to ask you to do is to go to revenuerascals.com/the local guild, and you can get access to my 7-day sales jumpstart that covers not just services, but also products. Okay. So what am I selling? They cannot be your whole menu, not all your services, and not everything your business could possibly do. One thing, one clear offer, one clear outcome, one clear customer or client. So let's go ahead and actually do this with the senior concierge example. Okay. If I asked most owners what they sell, they'd start by listing services. It looks usually something like this. And remember, this is for a senior concierge service. If I asked, what do you do? Weekly visits, appointment help, technology support, grocery shopping, family updates. Great. Those are features and benefits of an offer, but it's not actually the offer. That's a menu. And menus don't sell. And the reason why menus don't sell is the brain can't associate value around it. And it's really difficult to reduce the sales fraction to make an offer. So what do you do instead? You create a real offer. That's what sells. So if I needed customers this week, I'd create this simple offer for my new senior concierge business. I'd call it the Founding Family Program. And what I would say is that we are looking for 10 local families who want additional support for aging parents while maintaining their independence. That's it. Super simple, clear, and specific. That is what you are focusing on selling. Now, I'm going to teach you exactly how to create the messaging around this and the additional details for people to make an example. But I want you to understand how that comes off way different, right? And it'll be very, very powerful. For new businesses, I always love founding something, founding members, founding families in this example. The reason why is that a lot of people who are early adapters, which means psychologically they want to be some of the first to adapt new services, products, ideas, concepts, etc. They love and they crave to be part of something founding. So I'm not going to spend an enormous amount of time creating this very specific offer, but you want them to feel like the founding families are actually family, or that they get additional perks or bonuses, or they get to be part of something that is really powerful and they get to be part of a mission. And that's really, really, really important. So step one is to just make it super easy for people to buy from you. Now, let's assume like somebody wants it. Right? Someone's like, yeah, I'm going to go for it. I want to be a founding family. So what happens next? This is where businesses just lose customers every single day because they're driving to a confusing website. The next step is unclear. Nobody responds. People have to jump through hoops. Like I literally just went through this experience today. My son came to me and said, hey, Mom, there's like this teen like junior league program locally here in Park City for golfing, and I'd love to sign up for it. And I'm like, cool. So I go to the website. There is zero information about how I actually sign my son up. No, like email us here for more information, no call to action button, nothing. I had to dig through the entire website to find someone and email them because when I called, no one picked up for 5 minutes. Wow. So if my son wasn't really interested in this, wouldn't you just drop the ball and move on? So you just can't do that to people. You have to make it easy, easy, easy to buy. Okay. And to do that, you don't need all the fancy things yet. Okay. I want you to have all the fancy things, but after you master the simplicity of selling. So you just simply need a clear step. And let's say that you sent messages via email or text. The clear next step should be what? A call. That would help, right? So how quickly can somebody book a call with you? Include a link. Really important. If you are using Go High Level, then this is really easy for you. You can create your call link right there. If you're not using it, choose something else. Once again, 30 days free access if you do want to go try out Go High Level, and that's in the show notes. Okay. So can they book a call? And then if they say yes, can they pay you? All right. So both of those things can be handled inside Go High Level or whatever you have. Just make it easy. I will tell you, easy also means professional. So I was testing out in marketing and advertising campaign at a Tesla charging station for Revenue Rascals. Because in my head, I'm like, cool, you drive a Tesla and you're charging your vehicle in the middle of the day. Like, logically, this makes tons of sense for you to stare at my billboard and listen to Revenue Rascals. So the thing is I signed the contract, I did all the things, and their sales rep was god awful after I signed up. So I was never sent invoices. I was never auto billed. Like, they just expected me to go to Zelle and to remember on the third week of every month to pay them for this. Super, super unprofessional to start with. But then the sales rep dared to text me over a weekend, basically asking me why I haven't paid, and using reverse psychology and a lot of Jeremy Miner's forced endings tactics to get people to basically feel bad why they haven't taken action. So I called him out. I said, you should be careful when you use Jeremy Miner's strategies, and this is highly inappropriate. And I've never received an invoice, and I can guarantee you no business owner on the planet is thinking, oh, shoot, my billboard invoice is due. Like, that is not how it works. Send an invoice, professional payment. Okay. This is really critical. And, when people hire salespeople, they represent your brand. So when I corrected him via text message on how grossly inappropriate it was, then the owner got involved, but the owner didn't apologize, didn't take responsibility, nothing. And so this is like this company is going under. There is no way anyone is going to renew with them, use them again, or anything. So you have to be careful. Like, Jeremy Miner is an incredible trainer. The stuff that he teaches, great. Have nothing bad to say. Stuff I teach, incredible. It's amazing, right? Like, you can go out there and do all the things. But the problem is when you apply it or use it incorrectly, then you ruin your business. So it is so incredibly critical that you know not just what the tactics are, but when you appropriately use them. Okay? So make it easy, be professional. Don't expect the customer or the client to put in any work to pay you or to work with you. You have to curate an environment to facilitate that. And simple wins every single time. All right? Step 2, give people a reason to act. This is really important. One of the biggest lessons that you should be learning right now is that people don't buy because they understand. People buy because they understand they have a reason to move. And if you don't have a reason to move or to take action, then you literally become like somebody's note in their phone or a bookmark on the website, or they save your email for whenever they do feel like they need to move and take action, right? So for our senior concierge business, that might be like, we're accepting our first 10 founding families and set a deadline. We're accepting our first family members in the month of July. Okay. That's it. It's real and it's honest and it's simple. Now, I would add in a lot more urgency to that, to the entire campaign and message, but I could be here for 2.5 hours talking about that. And that's also why I've already created the 7-day sales jumpstart that actually allows you to create these very structured, abundant, large marketing campaigns that allow you to use them in different ways. Facebook groups, text, email, phone, all of the casual ways, networking in person, referrals, all of it, it's in there. So if you go to revenuerascals.com// the local guild, then you'll be able to activate that right now. I'm keeping this podcast episode high level and clearly very valuable to show you all the steps of what we're doing, but it would be really hard for me to teach you how to do this for every single business type during this conversation, which is why I have created what I have inside the 7-day sales jumpstart. So other urgency we'll consider creating, and I've also created the AI prompts so that you can maximize urgency for any of your offers. But here are some of them. It's capacity, timing, seasonality, special bonuses, founding member pricing. And the goal is not pressure. The goal is helping people to make a decision, right? So you as the business owner create the urgency, but you hope that you're meeting people who also have urgency in the problem that you solve. So for example, with the senior concierge, I would make sure that I'm speaking to the people who are considering taking their parents or loved ones out of their home and putting them inside a care facility. And the reason why is because that's like an average of $10,000 a month to make that move. So if you can sell them something that's $500, $1,000 a month, and you can delay that actually happening, that is your hook. That is your person. So considering putting mom into care, full-time care, moving her out, ? Let me save you $9,000 a month. Okay, that's compelling, right? So your urgency is meeting their urgency when you create the message correctly. And that is in all of the free resources I have in the 7-Day Sales Jumpstart. Okay. Now, step 3. Get in front of the right people. Now we can finally talk about finding the customers, right? And this is where most people completely overcomplicate things. And the fastest path to customers is usually not building this giant audience right away. You can borrow it. Okay, so borrowing an audience is a huge thing. I'm going to talk about that here. So let's think about the senior concierge example, right? Who already knows families dealing with aging parents and may have that urgency of having to put them in the home really quickly. Quiz time. Just kidding. All right. Estate attorneys, financial advisors, churches, home health agencies, senior communities. These people already have the trust with them, right? Now your job is to build the relationships. Now, typically, it will be people like me, the daughters of the aging parents that are making the decisions. So you just need to be careful that you're not reaching out to Bob that's, 85 years old to make this decision, right? You need to reach out to Bob's daughter, son, whoever is in charge of making decisions. And that is a very distinctive messaging and targeting differentiator. Okay. So one really good referral partner can seriously outperform months and months of social media posting and other tactics. And inside the local guild, we talk about nurturing those relationships as well, because referral partners only perform when they're managed. And I don't want you to think of managing as like something that's salesy or gross or hard. But if you're not consistently in front of people, they just forget about you because it's a really noisy world out there. So it's really, really important. Like just this last week, I sent out a newsletter for a client. And in that newsletter, we got a response really quickly to book a keynote. And I had asked the owner, I said, hey, have you been talking to this guy or did this come out of like left field? And it completely came out of left field. And the reason why this is important is now this guy was like, oh, okay, I kind of forgot about him. Not forgetting about it anymore. Oh, you know what? I think I do have a keynote for him. Do you see what I mean? So you have to stay in front of people, and it doesn't have to be in the format of a newsletter, but as you grow, you'll probably be encouraged to do something along the lines for the one-to-many. But with your referral partners, just stay in front of them, send them personalized text, emails, phone calls, whatever it takes. All right, friends, it's time to dig in to go high level. This is the deal. You should know this by now. I absolutely never let a sponsor come on here that I do not 100% believe in. And most of the time, they're products that I use and I'm really happy with. So Go High Level is my personal CRM and operating system and everything that we've been talking about today. So everything that I just described, the missed call text back, the voice AI overflow intake, the automated follow-up, all of this is built inside Go High Level. Here is what I want to tell you if you've been thinking about setting stuff up like this, but haven't decided on the product, because I'm going to give you the easy way right now. So first of all, I am all about price transparency, and plans start at just $97 a month for unlimited users. I don't know another product like this that covers automations, landing pages, voice AI, and allows you to have unlimited full access users. Most of the other platforms that I use, that my clients use, it's $1,000 every single time that you want to add a user. This is so powerful and completely limitless for you. Every single user, like I said, will have full access to the platform, no per seat pricing, no tiered permissions, no paying more because your team grew, which is so frustrating. One flat rate and everyone is in. See, the deal is Go High Level runs a free live boot camp every weekday to get you set up fast. 1 hour on Zoom, a Go High Level coach walks you through the setup click by click, live with you in the room, doing it alongside, not a recording, not a webinar, or someone just talks at you for an hour and leaves you with a PDF. You leave with actual automations if you want, running inside your account. They'll cover all of the things that you need to get initially set up, like your domain, phone numbers, simple automations, and heck, this will send you off to the races with call text back, reputation and review management, social media integrations, Google Business Chat, and more, all inside just the 60 minutes and completely free for you. You also get a 30-day trial to make sure that it's the right fit for you and to set up everything else that you would like. One of my favorite things is I no longer have to give my username and passwords to my social media team. Everything is built inside Go High Level, and with one button, it publishes to all of my platforms. So powerful and streamlined. There's even an approval process. So, nothing's getting posted without my permission and without me seeing it. If the story you just heard today and my testimony about how Go High Level helps me, well, register for the free boot camp and the free 30-day trial with the link I've provided in the show notes. And I can't wait to hear about how Go High Level changes and transforms your business. And as a reminder, if you get set up and you have a question and you want to know how to put this into sales motions, come and show up. Show up at my free coaching calls that I run once a month. Once again, go to revenuerascals.com/listen. Now, step 4. Anytime I talk about follow-up is actually my best performing content or my best performing resources. And the reason why is that follow-up really sucks for most people. I don't know actually anyone who likes follow-up, including myself. And I'm going to tell you why, right? It feels tedious. It feels kind of like you're nagging. You're like, geez, can we just move this thing forward? So I create a game with it. And I think that's actually like why I love CRMs and pipelines is because it's gamified for me. It's like, ooh, I just have to get to the next step where I move the deal to the next stage. Like it starts to feel fun. But the number one thing with following up is that most people completely screw it up because they're thinking about themselves and not the prospect or the potential new customer first. So you're always like, I need. But if you can understand that person's urgency or reason to buy, it feels lots better. So for example, with the senior concierge, doing a follow-up message that says, hey, Bonnie, like, I know you needed to make a decision about your mom going into a home or activating our senior concierge services. And I realize your deadline is next Tuesday to make that call with the home. Have you made that decision? Do you need additional support from me to make a decision? There's lots of ways you can close it based on that previous conversation. But you'll notice I wasn't like, hey, like I only have one more spot next week. Do you want to get started? Nobody replies to that because nobody cares. Because if that's the approach you're going to take, like you're not someone that most people are going to want to work with. So stop doing that, right? Make it always about them. Okay. Very, very, very important. And this is the deal is that most sales are not like lost after that first conversation. But if you don't keep the momentum going, that's where you start to lose them. And sometimes it takes a third or a fourth conversation. So don't get discouraged because this is the deal. People are busy. Life happens. Priorities shift. Following up is just not pushy though, guys. It's absolutely serving if you do it the way that I teach you. And to expand on what I just said, I refer to it as my AVP formula. I've been teaching it for a decade. It stands for Acknowledge, Validate, Peel. And it is the number one way that you should be communicating for not just follow-up, but for sales conversations, for tough calls with employees, tough situations with customers and clients. You have to master the AVP to be successful in growing your business. And I'm giving you literally the keys to the kingdom inside the Jumpstart. So go and learn AVP, friends, okay? Because this is the deal, is if you use my formula, every conversation peels away one layer of friction. That's why it's an onion. Get it? Peel Okay. I like to say, think of it as like an onion. Every follow-up helps people move closer to a decision, not just because you're holding them accountable to what they had said in my example, but if you are persistent in caring and focused on them through the sales process, then they'll feel safe once they say yes and start working with you. Okay. And I always say the sales process is usually 100% reflective of the customer experience. So be really careful how you do this. And if you're not following up consistently, you are 100% leaving money on the table, period. If you go and access the episode that I recently did that talks about the roofing company that gained $4 million in sales from running and activating a follow-up campaign, if that doesn't convince you, I know it will. So here's the real lesson. At this point, you're probably noticing something. None of this is revolutionary. Nope. That's because getting customers is rarely about secret tactics. It's about consistent execution. And the businesses that win are not usually the smartest. They're not the most talented. They're not even the most experienced. They're the ones willing to execute the fundamentals over and over again. The offer, the message, the audience, the follow-up, rinse and repeat. So what I would actually do this week, if I launched this business tomorrow, or for any business that wants to get in a cash injection right now, here's my plan. Day 1, create an offer. Day 2, create one simple path to buy. Day 3, write one message. 4, identify 3 audiences that already have my customers. Send that message to them. Day 5, start conversations. Day 6, follow up. Day 7, measure your results. Then do more of what worked and get rid of everything that didn't. That is it. And if you consistently do this over, let's say, 4 to 6 weeks, your entire business will change and you will have so much extra money, okay, that you can start to invest in some of the fancier ways to acquire customers. But you cannot put the cart before the horse. All right. And you'll notice I'm in my Western pleasure outfit today because I was with a client at the barn working on some cool strategies. So you get to see me in my Western wear today. All right. So this is the deal. I've created some really powerful resources and a perfectly set up, easy to execute 7-day sales jumpstart. 9 sample campaigns. Look at this. We are rocking and rolling, and you are never going to wonder what type of campaigns to do again, friends. This is a 30-page document. Let's go. There are 24 super easy ways to find customers in 7 days or less, and I jump into all of them in this document. And you do not want to miss this. And you know what you really don't want to miss is that if it's not perfectly aligned for your business, you go down to the master prompt and AI will figure it out for you. Wondering what to sell? Well, I figured that out for you. Here's 100 things to sell this week as a local business. And we cover product businesses, home service businesses, and personal service businesses. And you know what's really cool? If you can't find what you want in here, what did we do? We created an AI prompt so you can figure out exactly what you want to be selling. The follow-up mini masterclass, like, are you kidding? I am giving you the keys to the kingdom of making money and sales. This goes through exactly how to do follow-up that converts. And I even teach my acknowledge, validate, peel method through this entire document and inside the 7-day free sales jumpstart. You will never be the same communicator again. It's easy for you to sell, to work out problems, to create follow-up, to work through any type of friction with customers or clients, to help you develop your employees. You name it, it works for all of it. All right. This is not a course. I want you to think about it as an activation. The goal is to not shove a whole bunch of complicated information into you so you're learning all this new crazy stuff. The goal is to generate sales, period. So you can go and grab it for free at revenuerascals.com/the-local-guild. All right, so what do we have going on next? Well, next week, we're tackling one of my favorite topics, how to turn one-time buyers into recurring revenue. Because getting customers is great, but keeping customers is where the money and the freedom lives. And it is the difference between a side hustle and a real business. So I'll see you next week. Thanks for listening to Revenue Rascals, where we turn bold ideas into predictable revenue and prove that breaking the rules can still build empires. If you love what you heard, do me a favor. Tap the links in the show notes to support our sponsors. They're the ones keeping this show free so I can keep ungating the strategies that help you scale faster, lead smarter, and take more freedom home with you. And hey, if you think you'd make an incredible guest or know someone who's built something worth studying, email me at hello@michelleterpster.com. And until next time, stay sharp, stay bold, and stay just a little bit rascal.